word gratis, which means grace or gracious or gratefulness. If we are grateful, will we become more gracious? If we're grateful, will we become more gracious? Gratitude requires that we slow down and really savor. That's what we do. We slow down and we savor things when we're really grateful for them. We're like, oh, this is so good. And when we slow down and savor things, we automatically become more gracious. There's been a ton of research that's been done on gratitude. And gratitude increases your general well-being, that it strengthens your relationships, that it reduces stress, that it aids in depression. So here we say form follows consciousness. So if our interior is lit up with gratitude, our life is going to be lit up. So what Wayne Dyer says, when we change the way we look at things, you guys know it, the things we look at change, right? We're not grateful because things are going well. Things are going well because we're grateful. Things are going well because we've activated a certain degree of gratefulness. An experiment that was done with a couple of psychiatrists had a group of people. And they split them into 3 different groups. And they said, you guys are going to focus on everything you're grateful for. And they said, the second group, you guys are going to focus on the things that really irk you and bother you this week. And you're going to all write these down each week. And then you guys are just going to focus on whatever happens. And after 10 weeks, they came back and they found the people who focused on gratitude were more optimistic. They felt better about their standing in life. They exercised more, which is interesting. And they had fewer trips to the doctors. So literally their exterior was becoming more healthy because their interior was rejuvenated with gratitude. And even more powerful than that is that the group that focused on negative aspects of their life, they all died. Well, eventually they all died. The idea is that we don't want to take life too seriously. Do we have a fatal attitude? Or do we have a creative attitude? Gratitude surfs the waves of hopefulness. So we get to establish a degree of hopefulness. And gratitude surfs on that hopefulness. That's not just something for little kids on Christmas Eve. Like, we can all turn up that experience of hopefulness. No? Are we people of problems? Are we people of possibilities, of purpose? You know, when it said in the prayer, like, all things are possible, all things are perfect. Are we people of that mindset? Or are those just words that we say in the morning? The question is, like, how hookable are you? Right? How hookable are you? That means, like, are you a fish that's just dangling from a hook? Are you hooked up by everything that passes you? Do you get strung up and hung out by it? Or are you going with the flow, the grace of God? And we talk about well-being here. And when we think of when I think of well-being, I think of the well that was in the center of the town back in the ancient days. And Jesus went to the well, and everybody went to the well because that's where they got their water from. And at the well, you would have your connection. You would go there for your good news. The modern day well these days is the water cooler at work where you go and you're like, hey, you know, what's going on? Did you see that show last night? Or can you believe she's sleeping with the boss? Or whatever juicy bits you want to share at the water cooler. Or you have the watering hole. You know, you go at night and you have your drinks and you have your connection. You know, when you go for connection, that's what you go for. Well-being requires that we have some connection. Are important for our well-being. So people who hang out with people activate a greater gratitude for the human experience. That's like people who hang out with babies activate a greater appreciation for kids. People who hang out with animals activate a greater appreciation for animals. But we're people, so we have to like see how we can navigate this experience with people. It's like, here's some people say, I don't like people. You know, I go, you know what? I don't like them either, but we're all we have. So we can work with what we have. What would it be like if we just decided that we were people? To actually take the time to be people. You know, to look our loved ones and our lovers, and to, if you have lovers, God bless you, to look our loved ones in the eyes and to be with them and to appreciate them for who they are as they are. Not what we wish they were, but who they are as they are. You know how healing it is to feel seen and heard? Confirming that people who have weaker social networks actually die younger. That's not a joke. That's something that's actually a fact. Are we engaging with people? In the Course in Miracles, this is what it says. It says, the only gift that I want is your gratitude toward your brother. That's it. we're like, that? You know? Can I just put money in the basket and be done with it? The only thing God wants is our gratitude towards our brother. That seems so simple. And yet, it doesn't come as easy as it should sometimes. It's as if you're grateful to your brother, you're grateful to God, for God created that brother. Like every artist wants to be appreciated for their handiwork. So you're literally saying like, hey God, good one. This guy, you did a good job, you know? I like her just the way she is. Well done. God says to us, I don't need your gratitude, but I need you to develop your weakened ability to be grateful. That's all it comes down to. So as grateful as you are at this moment, imagine where you're going to be at the end of this 30 days of gratitude. Like really feel into the possibility of breaking some of your own glass ceilings. You get to decide every single encounter, like, am I going to be grateful in this encounter? And sometimes things are going to cross your threshold that you're going to be like, no thank you, I did not order this, wrong house, go away. And there, we got to look past the disguise and say, this is for me. I'm going to be grateful for this, and in my gratitude, it will transform. The degree of your happiness is reflecting to you. So that's the good news. The world is sort of just a mirror showing you who you are, but not who you're capable of being. So don't get caught up on the image of what it looks like right now. Begin to imagine a greater idea and ideal for yourself. Talking about is sort of based on the placebo effect. And all placebos have in common that they do not contain an active substance meant for effective health. So a person can be given a fake pill or a fake procedure or a shot, and there have been countless, like 18 to 80% of people who use the placebo effect actually have healing results. So that's kind of crazy. Ulcers disappear, disease goes away, pain goes away, the body heals itself, solely because of the belief of the mind. We're going to say that God is in the pill, the prayer, the procedure. God is in everything. But if your pill is bigger than your God, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow. It's done unto us as we believe. That's all this is based on. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm just inviting you to be more intimate with these laws. Where it's done unto us as we believe. I'm going to ask you to do an experiment this month. Just do an experiment where you dedicate yourself to activating a mind full of greatness. Full of greater possibilities, to believe in the unbelievable, to believe in the impossible, to believe that these things are actually possible. If we didn't have people who lived on the cusp of believing something that was not possible, we would all be just regurgitating the same thing over and over. But don't you know that somebody just cracked the 2-hour marathon, right? Like that would seem impossible. In fact, there was a time in our consciousness, in our social agreement, where we said if we ran that fast, we would what? Die. You would die, but smoking's fine. Smoking's healthy. Right, so it's like we get to question these things. So, there's a guy who did a TED Talk. His name is Ted Chalk, and he is a Harvard researcher. He openly gave his patients placebos, telling them that they were placebos, right? And he suggested that the reason that he had such success in his work was that it wasn't about the placebo, it was about everything. It was about the care that he gave to his clients. It was about the pill, the ritual of them looking at a pill. It was about him giving them exams. It was about setting up a ritual for them to come in. When I think about that, the only thing that's consistent is the care. That people heal because they were cared for. That it's not just based on the symbols. That we're responsible for the internal surgeries of our life, where we get to go in and pull out all of those diseases and those thoughts of, unforgiveness that keeps us from having vitality. How well do we want to be, and how much gratitude do we want to have? There is a story from the Bible called the widow's oil. It was wife of a man from a company of prophets. He passes away, and she cries out to Elijah, your servant, my husband, has died, and you know that he revered you, Lord. He's died, and I have no money, and his creditors are going to come and take my sons and make them slaves. Just horrific. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? I guess that's what passed for like bartering back then. Take my kids. Devastated by that. So she cries out like, I need help. And he says, well, what do you have? What do you have in your home? And she said, I have nothing. He's like, well, what do you have? And she said, oh, really, I have a little oil. He says, great. Go around to all of your neighbors and ask for empty jars and gather up all the empty jars. And then go in your house and close the doors with your son and begin to pour the oil into the jars. And she did. She did what she was told to do. She goes in her house, she locks up the door, she gets all these bottles, and she fills them up, and she fills them up, she fills up, she asks for the next jar, and the kid says, there's no more jars. And she says, oh my gosh, look at all these jars of oil. And she takes them back to, the prophet, and he says, okay, now go out there and sell them, and live off of that, and your sons can live off what's remaining. That's a placebo effect. It's done on her as she believed. She was willing to go a different way. She was willing to have her good expanded for her, even though she didn't know how to do it. And instead of saying, I don't have anything, the direction was to look on what you do have, because what you focus on increases. He just shifted her gaze. She had been running the story of, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. He said, look at what you do have. And let's pay attention to that, because when you pay attention to what you have, your good will expand. It's time to go get our jars and set our table and expect miracles. What would we got to lose except our limited thoughts? We're here together, this group of people, making a commitment to the experiment of gratitude for this month. Let yourself be immersed in our practice together as a community. The placebo, the meaning of the placebo says, I will please. When you look to what God has to say, God says, it's my good pleasure to bring you the kingdom. It's my good pleasure. The whole world is a placebo effect. It's what we make of it. Well, it's what we decide it is. So if you believe in the greatness of your God and allow that admission of greatness to permeate every nook and cranny of your life, you will be able to let yourself experience these miracles of gratitude. Thanks for letting me share.